Welcome back to another episode of She Conquers Dirt, a Bauer Power Hour series. Charlene and I have a great, exciting guest for you guys today. So tell
Yes,
us
we
who it is,
do,
Charlene.
Avis. I'm so excited. This is Angel Volkart, and I'm really excited to have her on today talking about her dirt biking career and her podcast and all the lessons that she's learned along the way. She has some really cool stories to tell us about.
All right, let's get into it. Let's bring her on up.
She Conquers Dirt features the stories of incredible off-road ladies associated with Ladies Off-Road Network. Bauer Power Hour can be found on YouTube and your favorite podcast outlet. Now buckle up and let's roll.
Hey, Angel, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Why don't you give us like a highlight reel? Just tell us, what do we need to know about you?
Well, I started dirt biking back in 2018. I got myself a little TTR 125. I had wanted to ride for years, and I never got around to it. Couldn't do it growing up really poor. So I was married at the time, and I bought my husband a bike, and I was like, you need to learn how to ride this, and then you need to teach me. And I didn't know anything about dirt bikes, so I bought him like one of the tallest bikes ever. And it literally, like, the seat was like almost to my shoulders. It was huge. Not that that's hard, but rode a little bit after I got my TTR. I rode probably like maybe 2 hours a year until 2023. Went through a divorce, and I was like, I want to ride more. Like I had been told that I wasn't very good, so I wasn't going to go anywhere with riding. And I was like, well, what if like I actually try? Like, I've never really tried anything like that. Like, I've always been good at like education and like stuff like that. Like, school was easy for me. But I never really tried it, like physical stuff, a whole lot. So I never did sports growing up. And so I was just like, well, I really want to try with this and see what it could do. Like, at this point in my life, I'm at rock bottom. So there was only up that I could go. So this was my direction. Like, this was my way of like focusing my energy. So I decided to start doing that and kind of realized that dirt biking is really hard. And then I found out there's this thing called technique, and it exists, and I didn't know that. So I found out that there was one of my idols had a clinic like a few hours away from me. So I signed up for it, went out, and I met him. And he was the top guy in the world for a long time. And so it was just like a huge honor to meet him. The man was yelling at me throughout the whole clinic, like, use your back brake, like slip your clutch. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. I didn't even know there was a back brake on my bike. So I went through that whole clinic, and I went and apologized to him afterwards. I was like, I'm probably like the worst person you've ever trained. And he's like, no, actually, he's like, you were really receptive. You did really well once you got the hang of things. He's like, you have a lot of potential. And I was like, excuse me, what? So for him to say that, it really like sparked something within me. And I was like, okay, I really want to try this. He says that I have potential. So like, what can I do with this? Let me just try for like a couple months. And a couple months has now turned into 2 years. And I have gone across the country. I have ridden in 16 different states. I have raced in 5 now, I think. I have gone from, I always say -20, like everyone starts at square one. I was at -20. I had no balance. Like, I had no business being on a dirt bike. I barely rode a bicycle growing up. But I am now at like, probably like square 5. Like, I'm starting to get skills and starting to get past that first little bit. But throughout all of this, I have realized that the biggest driving factor for me isn't just the confidence that dirt biking brings me, but it's the community of off-road. And everybody that I've met off-road, from people in Jeeps to other dirt bikers to people at hard enduros, everybody's so welcoming and so supportive. And very, very few people have told me that I can't do it anymore. So I'm now in a community that tells me, even though I have all these things against me, being too short for the bike, I started this really late in life. I was 28 when I started riding. I am now 35, just starting to race hard enduro. And everybody's like, you're crazy. But, if I can do it, anyone can.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I know Avis is like busting at the seams with a bunch of questions. And so am I, but we'll do that in a minute.
Uh-huh.
I know. I know.
Fine,
But
fine.
I know, but I want to open the door to your house. Like, do we have furry friends? What kind of relationship? Kids? Like, let's keep digging into your background. What kind of school? You talked about going to college. Like, what do you got?
So no kids, no pets as of right now. My pups actually stayed back in Minnesota with my ex-husband. It's just me and an RV. It's a stationary RV, unfortunately, but I live in an RV on some property at the base of the mountains, and it is some absolutely phenomenal riding. But yeah, I went to school, so I have a 4-year degree. I have a bachelor's of science in business and healthcare management. So I do a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I was a supervisor of a lab for several years, and now I'm just a minion, but I still do a lot. We have a new supervisor here at my current job, so I'm kind of helping him figure things out. He's never been in a position like this before. So I'm the kind of person who I don't want anyone to go through the struggles that I went through. So I try and make it better for people. That's on dirt bikes. That's it anywhere in life. So that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is helping him transition into this position and make it a little bit easier for him. So I believe that you should lead by example, and it doesn't matter if you have the title. You can still set a good example.
Absolutely love it. Love it. Well, let's jump into this first set of full throttle questions so we can get on to our questions.
Let's do our first full throttle favorite rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay. What was your first car?
My first car was a 1991 Acura Integra.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, sushi.
What is your music of choice?
It depends on the day. Right now, I'm very into like 90s country. But my music taste ranges from classical to heavy metal. So.
Excellent. Are you a prepper or a last minute doer?
Last minute.
And early morning or late night?
Both. Honestly, I don't sleep very much. So I sleep an average of 4 hours a night. So it's kind of both. I guess probably early morning.
Wow.
I thought we were going to be besties until you said country music. that's a notch down. That's a notch down. But I digress.
But 90s country.
Yeah.
But 90s country. So who is like one of the 90s country that you're digging?
Like George Strait, a lot of George Strait, Alan Jackson, like the old school stuff. So that's my jam. But yeah, like I said, I listen to absolutely everything. So you will go into my phone and like my Spotify, and pretty much name an artist. They're probably in there, except Taylor Swift. I don't think I have any Taylor Swift. Like not on purpose, like nothing against her. If I like a song, I add it to my playlist, and I don't care the genre. Like I don't care who it is, but I just don't happen to like anything by her that I know of. So
fair enough. How tall are you?
5 feet.
5 feet.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I just brief back history. Got my first dirt bike at 45 and I'm 5'2".
Yeah.
And it was incredibly hard. So the fact that you have made it work, I bow to you.
It is extremely hard, and doing hard enduro on a full-size bike, because I don't know if I said this, but I have gone up to a 300 now. So it's a full-size bike. It is lowered 1.5 inches, but seat height on the bike is 33.25 inches, and my inseam is 28. So the math doesn't add up.
The math does not math. Strategically placed rocks is where you put your feet, right? How do you manage that?
So how do you overcome the obstacle of being short? Like what do you do? Are you finding rocks? Like what's your goal?
I'm still working on it, but yeah, in hard enduro, I'm thankful that there's a lot of rocks. So my line choice has to be a little bit different. I ride with mostly A riders, and they're really, really good. They take these ridiculous lines, but I have now learned that I can't, first of all, I don't have the skill to take the lines that they take. I am at best a C rider. I always say I'm like a D rider. But I've been working really hard. I do a lot of balance. I do a lot of cornering drills and just like cone weaves to try and get used to being on the pegs, because unfortunately, I can't put a foot down most of the time. So there's a lot of situations where I just have to keep my feet on the pegs. When I see my friends paddling up a hill, I can't do that. It's been a lot of kind of trial and error to learn. I ride with mostly guys who are 6 feet plus, but one of my favorite people in the world, he's 5'7", and he says he's short. To me, that's still tall. But he's really great at like kind of recognizing where he can put a foot down. I can't always do that. So he's really good about helping me find stuff, and he coaches me through, and that's been huge for my progress. Since I started riding with these guys in February, my progress has skyrocketed, and I didn't actually start doing hard enduro until I met them. I wanted to. That's what my goal has been for all of this time, but I hadn't been able to do it. Like I just didn't have the confidence to even attempt it. So I started doing it with them, and then that was February. And then in April, I signed up for my first race. And so my first hard enduro race, and I failed miserably, but I still went out there and I did it. And I remember like just being on the start line and just like having this moment of peace, because this is what I've wanted since I was 24, at like for hard enduro specific. And I was just like, the fact that I'm here, I never ever truly thought I was ever going to line up for a hard enduro. So it was a literal dream come true.
We need to take a hard stop though and help everybody understand what hard enduro is.
Yes,
so
that was
let's
my
back
question.
it up a little bit. Let's define what it is and help everybody understand.
So hard enduro is basically taking the hardest sections that you will ever see people take any vehicle through and making them harder, and then throwing yourself through it on a bike. We do a lot of like rock gardens, a lot of insane hill climbs, a lot of rocks on hills. So you're going over ledges, things like that. A lot of trees, going over like logs. So it's pretty much what most people think they would never want to do on a dirt bike. And that's what we're doing. We're going in really crazy places.
And the enduro side of it is the timing side. So talk about the timing of it.
Yep. A lot of these races are going to be between 3 to 6 hours. So you're out there fighting the terrain for hours on end. And that's where the endurance comes in. That's the enduro side of it. So it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like I said, I was not somebody who did sports. I didn't do like lift weights or anything like that. I ran, and that was pretty much it. So I had the cardio down, but cardio doesn't necessarily equal endurance when you drop your bike every 150 feet. So my bike weighs roughly 260 pounds, and I weigh about 135. So I have to lift more than my weight every single time I drop that bike, and I drop that bike quite often. So I think this last weekend they stopped counting at like 25, and they're like, this is ridiculous. And I was like, I'm still going, and I still made it through the section. It wasn't beautiful, but I still made it. So
you've only been competing in hard enduros? Is that what I'm hearing?
So I have done other disciplines. My very first race on my TTR was an enduro. It was like a sprint enduro format. I disqualified because I didn't know what I was doing. I was not anywhere near fast enough. And then I tried a hare scramble, came in 100% the last place. I think I was like 120th out of 120. I did what's called a schmedium enduro because it was my first step into hard enduro, but the race is called a schmedium enduro in North Dakota, and that was absolutely insane. It was a lot of single single track, off camber, downhill. And then there was logs on top of the fact that it rained. So there was clay everywhere that just like caked up my wheels. So that was really fun. And then I've done a GP style race. But this has all been like one-off races, and it was just kind of to like expose myself to the race formats because I was never around this stuff growing up. I had never really seen it. I had seen Supercross, and that I had been around a little bit, but nothing off-road. So I wanted to kind of see as many different disciplines as I could because I had the idea I wanted to do hard enduro, but again, everybody had told me in the beginning that that wasn't something I was ever going to be able to do. So I was trying to find something that maybe could take the place of hard enduro. Maybe I would decide I like something else better. But I kept coming back to, I really want to try this, like, because I was doing media at different hard enduro events. So I was around it, I was around the community, I was making these amazing friends, and people just kept encouraging me. And so I was like, well, might as well just try it.
Okay, so you tried it and you had a pretty successful season, and now you're walking into another season that starts with King of the Motos. So take us through your success of last year and what you're looking forward to at King of the Motos.
So I define success as me being happy, which is, I call my bike happy because I'm ridiculously happy every time I'm on him. So I am just about, I have been just about the experience, right? Just I'm out there, I'm doing it. That's been my success so far in hard enduro, because I've only done 2 hard enduros so far. So I did that one in April. And then I did another one in August in Tennessee. It's called Tennessee Knockout. And that one I define as success because I had put out a challenge to women at that point. And I said, any woman who wants to come, like, let's have you do your first hard enduro at this race. And I will do everything I can to remove as many obstacles as I can for you. So I coordinated with US Hard Enduro and Louise Forsley, who is one of the most accomplished women in dirt biking. And she put on a clinic before the race for the women. And so we were able to get the costs cut down, way down. Thank you to IRC. They paid for the fees for the women, and they provided us lunch. So that was really cool. IRC is awesome. We were able to get, I think it was, I want to say there was 9 women who showed up to the clinic, and many of them, it was their first time at hard enduro. And so it was so cool. And the camaraderie that came out of it, some of those women I talked to almost daily. So it's really, really cool. And we all had to go against the same terrain. We were all at different levels, but it was still, I consider it a success. I made it through my hot lap. I made it a third of the way through the actual race. So for me, it was a huge success. And then in October, I did a sprint enduro and I got my first podium. So I got 3rd place in Women's C, and I was like probably the happiest person to ever get 3rd place because I've never won anything. Like, I've never gotten even close. So to be on a podium, I was just like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing, because it was another step to the dream come true, right? So I had always wanted to do hard enduro. I've always, like, back in the day, my little dream was one day I'm going to race Erzberg and I'm going to, like, be the first person to do it on a TTR. But, like, you know, maybe I'm going to get to the point one day where I can be competitive in this realm. And then I started doing hard enduro and I was like, oh, no way. I'm just going to be happy to survive, right? Like, if I can make it to one checkpoint at every race, I will be so happy. But then getting that podium, it kind of changed things for me. It kind of just like it started this little fire, and now I'm like, okay, what can I do? Like, how hard do I have to push to potentially get a podium in hard enduro now? King of the Motos is a very gnarly race, and last year I did media there, and I said I would never do that race. Like, I was terrified just climbing it. Like, I was riding around, like, around the mountains and stuff, but I hiked into the mountains to take my pictures, and I was like, the people who do this race are insane. Like, I could never do something like this. And if I ever got to the point where I felt comfortable enough, I was like, I would consider myself a successful rider. And so in February, My buddy took me out there and I broke my bike so bad, and he had to ride my bike through most of the sections because I was brand new to hard enduro. I had maybe 80 hours on the bike at that point. And so I was like, I didn't know what I was doing in so many ways. And so it was probably the worst idea, but shout out to Mitch for always letting me try. Like he will take me to stuff that isn't too crazy. Like it was crazy for me to be in that canyon, but it's not like he took me to like the edge of a cliff. It's contained. So it's contained craziness. It was very, very scary. And I was like, I'm probably never going to go back there to ride because it's just insane. And then on Thanksgiving, they were like, okay, we're all going to go and we're going to be here. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, you guys. Like, I'll come and hang out. I don't know if I'm going to ride with you guys. Like, maybe I'll just ride on the lake bed. And then they kind of talked me into it, and I did a lot better than I thought I was going to. I didn't die as much as I thought I was going to. So, and I talked to a couple of my buddies, and they were like, dude, you should totally sign up for the race. And then I don't know what moment of insanity I had, but I signed up for it that night. And I was like, the next day I was like, what did I just do? Like, what did I just do to myself? So now I will be spending most weekends out there training until they tell me I can't anymore. And then I'll just go out and pray that I make it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I always say that, like, I really should not be doing this. There's so many things against me, right? Like, I'm way too short for hard enduro. Everyone keeps telling me that. My bike is too big, whatever, but it's my passion. Like, it's what I want to do. I don't know what it is about me. I have like 5 screws loose or something, but if I can do it, literally anyone can, because like I have everything against me, so there's really no excuse. I really shouldn't be doing this because I have a birth defect where the bottom of my spine actually isn't fused properly. So it's actually a lot more fragile, and I could potentially have a spinal injury, but it's not likely to mess with like my spinal cord. But still, breaking your spine is still breaking your spine. So, the fact that I threw myself into hard enduro is absolutely insane. But I also was sick for a year and I was practically bedridden. And I know what it's like to not be able to do things, to not be physical, to not be able to even go for a walk around the block with my dogs. And, after not having that, I just want to do everything. So I do everything that I can. This year, I took my first ride in a razor. I took a ride in a helicopter, which I legitimately thought I was going to die in that one. But the guy went up in the helicopter and then he dropped. And I was like, I didn't even have time to scream. I was just, oh my God.
This is an incredible story. So, I mean, you've done it sounds like that was a rotating moment for you, where you said, okay, this is that line in the sand where I've had this life till now, and now it's time to go forward and live life to its fullest. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. I say that, my divorce, I was broken. I was completely and totally broken. I had never thought I was going to get married. So when I did, I was so happy. At least I thought I was. And then it just never, there was always something off. There was always something wrong, but I was married and I was, I was a wife and I was doing the family thing with, the dogs and stuff. And, that was everything to me. That was my identity though. And I had always wanted to be this other person, this stronger person, I felt like I could be more, but I just didn't know how to act on it. I had such bad anxiety. I was depressed. Like I wasn't living who I was. And I think that was eating me up inside. And so when I went through this experience, it broke me down to nothing. So I was like, I can try to build into what I've always wanted to be. I don't know if I can be that, but I'll never know if I don't try.
So take us into another category of your life. You are also the hostess of the Brop Life podcast. So what's that about? What are you running a podcast about?
Brap Life was kind of born from the hard enduro scene. It is not necessarily hard enduro based, but it is dirt bike based. I'm telling the stories of riders. But the whole thing got started was because I met this family from Hawaii, and the boy was 15 years old. I met them in North Carolina. Um, so a little far from home. And the boy was 15 years old. And I was talking to his mom and dad, and they were telling me, oh, yeah, well, when he's home, he does landscaping, he like babysits, like he does everything he can because he pays for the rental bike here on the mainland. And I was like, he's 15. What 15-year-old has that kind of work ethic? Plus, he wrenches on his own bike. And back home, same thing. He pays for his bike parts. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, and so I started talking to people about him. I'm like, did you guys hear about that kid, Makana? And everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, who is that? And so just realized that, like, no one really knew who they're like next to 90% of the time. And when I started talking about the things that Makana does and, you know, him working so hard, it was inspiring other people. And they're like telling their kids, like, did you hear that? Like, he's freaking, like, he's doing all of this. And it's actually a very common story I am finding in the off-road world is kids actually work really hard to be able to afford to do these things, because we all know that nothing we do is cheap. Anything off-roading, whether it's dirt bikes, Jeeps, side by sides, whatever, is expensive. And kids in this world that are growing up in this world get to see that. They get to experience resilience. They get to learn about, you know, finances and budgeting and all that stuff that they don't always learn in school. But we have in our culture, a lot of young people are so focused on video games and TikTok and all of that stuff, which I do that stuff too, but like I'm not obsessed with it. But the stereotype is, you know, these kids do that stuff and they're not active, they're not outside. And it's really, really cool to be in this community and see these kids that are doing that, that are active, that are outside, that have these goals and dreams and are pushing. I know these two boys in Iowa, they're 15 and 16. They work full-time jobs, they're in school, they do sports, and they train. And I'm like, I don't even do all of that. Like, to be fair, they have young people energy. But yeah, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. So telling these stories has been super inspiring, and we've been able to inspire people all over the world now. There are people who have started dirt biking, who've changed dirt bikes, who've tried new disciplines, and that has been really cool. And that is now the driving factor, is just to keep inspiring, to keep helping people find their passion. And I always say that, like, I found my happiness through dirt biking, and you know, I'm a little obsessed. But I'm so overly happy now, especially coming from where I was severely depressed. You know, I was at the point where I didn't really want to keep going, you know. And so to be where I am now within a couple years, it felt like that was never going to happen. But I have so much happiness inside of me that I just want to like take the excess. I feel like it's bubbling over. I just want to take it, bottle it, and give it to people so that they don't have to feel that way. You know, it's going back to what I was saying, like I've felt a certain way. I don't feel like anyone should ever have to feel like that. So if I can help people find the goodness and like find something to make them happy and to help them build confidence, I think that it's like almost my duty to do that, you know? And I don't know how to just, you know, jar it up and be like, here's some happiness. So the next best thing is, hey, here's what dirt bikes have done for me. Here's what dirt bikes have done for this person and that person. And let's see if we can get you in on it. You know,
I love it.
and
Yeah.
one of the biggest things is I've also been around a lot of families, and a lot of times moms are so selfless and they put themselves last. And moms deserve, I think everyone can agree, moms deserve to have some time for themselves. And we always, at least I'm always telling them, like, go take some time for yourself. Take 5 minutes to, you know, just like breathe for a second. You know, it's easy to say because I don't have kids, but I have helped raise a lot of children in my life, starting from 7 years old on. I understand what it's like. I've seen the sleepless nights and things like that. I know how hard that is and how mentally taxing it can be. So to help women to get into the space, especially mothers, to get into this space and to have something to let go of kind of stress and to just relax a little. I mean, as much as you can relax when you're falling over on a dirt bike. You know, follow me.
Yeah.
So
Let's define
that
that
leads
word,
me-
relax.
Yeah, exactly.
So that leads me into a great question. Like, so how are you helping people step into dirt biking? Like, you have your path, but
Mhm.
now is there something or a way that you're encouraging people to do it for themselves?
The biggest way that I've been doing it is through the podcast. So with the podcast, I have a little bit of income. It's not a lot, but everything that podcast makes, I turn around and put it into the community. So the very first thing I was able to do was I actually put out to the community and I said, nominate a woman and I will pay for one race for her. Because a lot of times women don't want to spend that money. They'd rather spend the money on their kids. So they're not going to spend, $150, $200 to pay for a race that they've never done before, that they're not sure that they're going to be good at. All of these excuses start to build up, and they're valid, but I want to do everything I can to remove that. So in limited quantities, I try to help women by paying for them for race fees if I can, or even just going to support at races. I had that challenge for TKO, and I organized that clinic. So I do what I can, but a lot of it is just encouragement and talking to women and just being on the pages. And when a woman says, I'm new in this space, I just got my dirt bike, making sure she feels that she has support. She has resources to go to. Even if I'm not in her state, I've been all over the country and I have friends all over the place. So usually I can hook people up together and be like, oh, I know this girl, she lives like 20 minutes away from you, like you guys should go riding. So, and I've really helped try to just get as many women's groups as possible out there. I try and give them as much support as I can. But I also do that with youth too. So it's not just women specific. I'm very heavy focused on that. And then I also support through the podcast media. I support amateurs in general. There's not as many women who are racing amateur, at least on the East Coast where I've done most of my media. But everyone gets their pictures for free from me. And I'm out there cheering for everybody. I make sure that I stay in one or two sections and everybody gets pictures going through because everybody deserves that. And unfortunately, professional photographers have people that they have to focus on. So not everybody gets a picture from them. So I try and make sure that everybody does when I'm there. And just that moment of capturing somebody, even if it's just through a small section that's easy for them, they have that and they see that power. And especially for women, I feel like that's absolutely just life-changing. Like it really gives them that confidence to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. And so if somebody's listening right now and they're like, I want to take that first step. You say that you practice a lot, you're riding a lot, you're, training a lot. Like, what does that mean? What is something where somebody could get more engaged if they were to do something at home to get engaged?
Yeah, so I do a lot of drills. So it's something I can just do in my yard. So I am basically doing like tight turns. I'm practicing braking. I do a lot of static balance practicing, which you can do anywhere. You don't really have to have a whole lot of space. You just have to be able to, have somewhere to fall on your dirt bike, essentially. I get my drills I do an online platform called CW2 Training. It's through Cody Webb, who's one of the top pros here in the US. But there are tons of free resources all over the internet. If you just go, there's Rich Larson is really, really great at breaking everything down. He uses a lot of words, but it's really great to know, especially as women, the way that we think. We want to know what is going on behind that noise my bike is now making because I've pulled in the clutch and now it's getting really loud and like, what is that? So Rich is really, really good about explaining that stuff. Megs Braff is somebody who I follow, and Crystal Loves Moto because they are both short ladies. I believe both of them are 5'2" or 5'3". And so it's really nice because I love Cody Webb. Do not get me wrong, but he is like 6'4". And so when he does something, it's a little bit different. So when Crystal or Megs do things, it's kind of nice because I can relate. They're still taller than me, but they're way closer to my size.
And center of gravity
Exactly.
matters because it's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, very huge to have people like that. And then, there's tons of people all across the country who can do like in-person coaching. And there's like, if you need a resource, reach out because I can help you. Pretty much anywhere in the country, I can find you somewhere to go to get stuff like that. But like I said, there's tons of online resources until you get to that point. I believe in a mixture of online coaching and in-person coaching because for me, like I said, I need modifications sometimes. I can't always do things, or when I do it, it doesn't look the same as it does when they're doing it online. And I record myself doing my drills so I can see my body position because sometimes I think I'm doing something and I'm like, I need to move. Like, what am I doing? Like, okay, back to the drawing board. So I think it's really important, but having that feedback from a coach right there, right away, that's like, okay, put your butt back more, or like bend your knees more, or whatever that thing is, having that correction immediately and feeling it in your body, I think is really, really important. But when you have a little bit of a baseline, I think the online stuff is really cool. That's what I do with the CW2 training platform. I know kind of the drills, but I just go back and remind myself, oh yeah, I could do that one today. Like I'm gonna watch this video, watch him go through it, talk about it, and then I'm gonna go out in the yard and I'm gonna do that one today. That's my personal thing. Not everybody has the time or dedication to do that, and that's perfectly fine. You do not have to get into dirt biking and go hardcore. You do not have to get into dirt biking and race. You can just be someone who trail rides. You could be someone who rides on the track. I don't do any track, but you can just, there's so many things you could do on a bike. You can stay on 2-track roads forever, stay on Jeep roads forever, and you can see so many amazing things. And
I love it. There's a ton of pro tips locked in there. Ton of pro tips.
Yeah.
Avis, how about we go into our full throttle question?
Okay. Are you ready for the second full throttle favorite rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Okay. What instantly stretches you out in a race?
Honestly, I haven't really gotten stressed out during a race yet. I struggle a lot, so that's not true. We'll back up. TKO probably when I ran out of water. That stressed me out. I went from Arizona, which has 0 moisture, to Tennessee, which had 90% humidity, I think, that day. So it was all the moisture and none of it was in my mouth. So I was having a really hard time. I always say, like, I don't have gills, so I can't turn this moisture into air. Like I was struggling. But I drank all my water in like the first like quarter mile. Like,
wow.
So that was probably the only thing that really stressed me out. But everything else is like, I love struggle because it means I'm learning. So everything else is like, all right, I'm learning. Like, this is a good experience. So
perfect. One word that describes your riding style.
Chaos.
Do you have a pre-race ritual that you have to stick to?
No.
If you could design any part with no budget limits, what would it be?
Some magical button to make my bike go lower when I need it and higher when I need it. Like airbags for my bike.
Who would you want to race against in your like dream 3-bike race?
I don't know because everyone beat me. Thinking about like my friends, like, because like I said, I ride with all A riders mostly.
Let's rotate it to who are your idols? Who are your motorcycle idols that you'd love to ride with?
Oh, who are my idols? I have a lot. It's funny because I'm that guy that I took the clinic with is actually one of my really good friends now. So he was my idol and now he's my friend and we have ridden in several states. But honestly, some of the women, Crystal from Crystal Loves Moto, she is an absolute beast on a bike. I would love to ride with her. Probably Micaiah Strauss and Michaela Shaver. Yeah, all women.
All right,
all would beat me 100%, but I'd be all right with eating their dust.
That's how you learn. Like you said, that's how you learn.
Exactly.
What's one of your hell yeah moments? Like you were out there, you were doing something and you're like, oh my God, this is it.
The first time that I made it up a big hill in California was probably one of the coolest moments where I was like, I could really kind of do this. Like it really kind of hit me. It was the first time that I went out like on a big ride with the guys that I ride with now. It was just this little top part of the hill, and the guys were all like doing it, and they were talking about how gnarly it was and whatever. And I finally just decided to try it because I had been staring at it for like 30 minutes. And I decided to try it. At one point, my front wheel came up and I was able to like somehow get it back under control and make it the rest of the way up. And there's a video where all the guys are down there and they're just like screaming for me because we were brand new to each other. So they didn't know what I was capable of, but I didn't know what I was capable of at that point either. So that was pretty cool. There's been a couple moments like that with those guys where they're like, yeah, why don't you try it? And I'm like, are you joking? And then I make it, and it's just like, it's so cool because they get all stoked for me, and every time that they're cheering, it's probably one of those moments.
I love it. Okay, and now at the opposite end of the spectrum, what's one of those moments where you're like, oh, this is a hard one. This is one where I'm going to take the lesson and learn from it.
That's every time I'm on the bike. I honestly, like, I just had one this last weekend. So we went, we were at this event it was like a pre-King of the Motos thing. And it was just to kind of get used to the GPS and everything. So they had all these people come out, and it was really cool. So I ended up riding with a guy who I had ridden with one other time. But he and I went out and we were kind of sessioning this area, and I was like, man, I am super out of my element here. Like, I like rocks, but at this point we had been going for an hour, and I was like, I looked at the GPS and we weren't even a quarter of the way through yet. And I was like, oh man, I am going to either die in here or I'm going to find some like well of energy and be able to make it. I really don't know how I'm going to do this. And then I sat there for a minute. I told myself, I have this little mantra of I do hard things for fun. And I told myself that a couple times. I ate a little bar, and then I felt so much better. And then I was able to make it through. It still took me 2.5 hours, but I made it through. So
nice.
So yeah, that's actually fun. I picked up on that hashtag. I do hard things for fun.
Yep.
So tell us about that.
I mean, I do. So hard things for fun. I run ridiculous distances, and I attempt to ride hard enduro. It's some of the hardest things you could ever put your body through, but I will never get upset about it. The only time I've ever been upset on the trail was like at myself because I knew I wasn't focused. I knew I was like thinking about some stuff that was going on, and I needed to focus because I kept making dumb mistakes. And as soon as I refocused in and ate a bar, because it's always comes down to food. I need
always my food.
But as soon as I did that, everything changed, and I was able to ride better, and I finished the day on a high note. So, but other than that, I mean, I've been through some of the hardest stuff that I've had to push my bike through, like physically push it a mile uphill. And like in rocks that I could barely get traction in, and like that's hard. Like who wants to sign up and do that? Nobody.
Not me.
But so that's where it came from, is I just started telling myself I do hard things for fun. And like actually it was this really cool moment. I met my friend Amanda through kind of the podcast and Facebook and like all of these groups and stuff. So she's a huge supporter. Her and her girlfriend actually came from New York to Tennessee, and they were there screaming my name on the sidelines. And it was the coolest thing ever. But I was struggling at this one section at the very tail end. I was literally like 100 yards from the finish line. And I could hear Amanda screaming. I could hear Jen screaming. And I'm just like failing at this one spot. And I just kind of sat there for a second. I'm like, okay, I do hard things for fun. I do hard things for fun. I'm just like saying it under my breath, right? And I'm like looking at it, like all these guys are like flying past me. And I hear Amanda just scream. And she goes, I see you, Angel. She goes, you do hard things for fun. And it was like a movie. And I was like, oh my God. Like, that was the most surreal thing, I think, that, you know, this person who I just met in person, we've been talking for a while online, but like, she's just so supportive. She's absolutely amazing. She made my whole weekend, honestly. I was able to go, I was able to hit it. My front tire went over what it needed to. And then the guy was able to pull me the rest of the way over. So I don't have the skill to get all the way over it. But then I was able to go through and I was able to finish the hot lap. So that's
super cool. So do you have stickers that say that? I do hard things for fun? Because
I have shirts. They're not very good sellers, but I also don't advertise them a whole lot. But yeah, I probably should, because I wear that shirt all the time because it's my reminder to myself. But
let's get that advertised down in the comments or links section there.
Great, because it's huge. I find that mindset in dirt biking in general, but also hard enduro specific, it's just, if you have a good mindset, you'll be able to get through a lot more than if you have a negative mindset. So even something as easy as you're on the trail and you see something, people always say, what's the worst that could happen? I don't say that anymore. I say, what's the best that could happen? Because in that split second before I hit that thing, I'm now reframing that, and I'm now seeing myself get over the rock or whatever it is. And that positivity has really made a difference. There are still times where I stop and I go, no. But again, that kind of has to do with like who I'm following and like the lines that these guys take. Sometimes they forget I'm behind them, and I'm like, nope, nah, I don't feel like dying today. And they come back and I get a workaround, you know, I get to go a different way. But a lot of the times they do try it and it scares me. But 9 times out of 10, I make it, or I can fail very gracefully.
So I feel like you're doing a lot of your goals set right now, but what's next in your goal list?
Really, I wanted to get more into the racing side of things, which I've got some amazing sponsorship for 2026 that I'm going to thankfully be able to do that. I had semi-committed to a race at the end of last year that I was going to do for 2026, and it is overseas. So I was a little worried I wasn't going to be able to do any racing locally. And I kind of wanted to do both, but I know that's a little bit of a big ask for my budget. So I was going to give up racing overseas and just try and do local. And then I got the sponsorship and all this help, and it's really great. So I think I'm going to be able to do both this year. So I'm hoping to sign up for Red Bull Romaniacs, which is one of the hardest races in the world. I will be doing the lowest class, so I am not competing with the super insanely gnarly people. But it is a huge experience. I've had a lot of encouragement for it, and I think that I can finish. I don't think I can podium. I don't know. There's some amazing women who go out and men in this level too, because there's not like a women specific category. But I think that I can finish it, and that would be just the ultimate goal, is to just finish that race over in Romania, because it's some insane terrain.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. Just to refrain, you are one of those super insane, gnarly riders, especially coming in at 5 feet tall. Just because you think you're, quote, just the lowest level, like, you're doing insane crap that other people aren't even attempting. So let's give yourself a little credit there.
Yeah, let's make sure we're clear about that. You are one.
Yeah, that's right. Own that title. Super insane, crazy person right there.
I've recently been told a few times that I'm a lot better rider than I think that I am. And I think I'm just stuck. Like I said, these guys that I ride with are amazing, and I think I'm always like comparing myself to them. So I think that not that it's not them at all. It's just me. Like, I see what they're doing and I'm not doing it, or I see them go through and float through a section and I'm struggling, and I'm just like, man, I should be doing it like that. Like, I'm not there yet, but I'm working towards it. And so I've constantly told people I'm a specific level, and then I go out and I ride with them and they're like, dude, you did that like no problem. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm kind of working on on the bike, I have confidence. On the bike, I feel like I can do a heck of a lot. You take me off the bike and I'm a little bit more reserved. I'm a lot more introverted. I can talk about bikes just fine, but I'm still building my confidence in myself. And I think that that's been a really big thing that I'm hoping to work on for 2026. 2025 was my year of doing things that scared me and not letting fear stop me, doing pretty much anything and everything that I could. I mean, I traveled to the other side of the world by myself this year. So that was something I never thought I'd do. I couldn't even go to the grocery store by myself before. And now I went to Austria by myself. So kind of just taking the time to reflect and like really soaking in everything that I was able to do and just kind of like letting my brain catch up to all of that, because I really I see myself totally different than I think a lot of people see me.
I think so.
That's awesome. Yeah,
hearing you talk, that's definitely. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to our next set of full throttle questions.
All right, our final full throttle favorite rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What race is still on your bucket list?
Definitely the Red Bull Romaniacs, but also I really want to go out to Turkey and do Sea to Sky. I have to increase my skill level a lot, but that's definitely on the list.
Excellent. What competitor trait do you value the most?
I guess just humility. That's always something that I gravitate towards, people who are really good riders, but who are very humble. And that I find they also have a lot of patience. So they're willing to talk about their progress and talk about how they had their success and basically share that knowledge.
What is your superpower, your secret superpower on the track?
I'm really good at falling well.
It's a talent. It is a talent.
What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Anything is possible.
If your racing career had a theme song, what would it be?
There's a song called Unstoppable. I have no idea who sings it, some girl, but it just literally just keeps saying, I'm unstoppable. And then there's like a parody version online, and it's like Cartman singing it. I feel like that's me, because like I feel like I'm doing really well, and on the first part I'm like, yeah, I'm unstoppable, and then I get to the part where I'm like falling on my bike. That's the Cartman part.
Best answer yet. What is the next skill you want to master?
Ooh, wheelies / pivot turns, being able to get my front tire up, because that is legitimately what I needed every single moment that I got super stuck this weekend. So being able to reliably lift my front wheel, I think will be next level for me.
What do you think is keeping you back from that? Is it your size? Is it the weight of the bike? Is it just an advanced skill?
Kind of all the above. So I've started to figure out the timing. I can zap my bike up stuff, but I'm having a really hard time getting my body to move properly to and getting the right, like, I don't know what the right word is, but like getting the right leverage to get the suspension loaded and then unloaded to get it up, because it's supposed to be like, you're supposed to just be able to do it really quickly and all the guys can just do it, no problem. But for me, I literally, in order to get my front forks to compress, I have to throw my entire body into the bike and then yank it back super hard. And when I do that, now I'm throwing myself off balance when I'm on the trail, and I cannot do that. So I have to kind of learn, I think, more of a power wheelie take to it, and less reliance on my body. So I think it's going to take a little bit of actual true coaching to be able to get it down, and have somebody just sit there and like drill it with me for like 20-30 minutes before I can finally get it. But yeah, so I think it's just kind of a mixture of things. And also it kind of terrifies me, because sometimes I can get it up and then it just keeps coming up and I'm like, oh my
God. Oh my gosh.
It's absolutely that mix, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, and it's like a hair of like difference. It's like this is just not enough and this is too much, and there's a hair right there. That's the separating line.
So we've been asking everybody this next same set of questions so we can all get some pro tips out of it. All right.
Okay.
So how do you keep track of your notes and your to-do lists?
I'm really good at remembering things.
Oh.
I have a planner, and I really try and get everything into my planner, and I used to have like post-it notes, but then I started traveling so much and I was in so many different places, and like I would be like my planner was in my car and I would fly somewhere, and now I don't have my planner with me and I have to just try and remember. And so I most of the time, if I write it down, I can remember it. So whether it gets written on a notebook or whatever, it's somewhere, but it's always in my head.
Nice. Do you have something that's a routine for the day? Some way that you wake up and you go into the day or in the middle of the day?
Not really. My life is kind of chaos right now. I've kind of been living the last year just kind of spontaneous, more spontaneous than I've ever been. I've always been like a super planner. And part of my whole 2025 has been, doing things that scare me. And so it's just been kind of, oh, this weekend I'm going to go to this state, or next weekend I'm going to go to that state. And it's just kind of super last minute for stuff. And because of that, my house is kind of chaos right now. Like I got back from my last trip and I still haven't unpacked from it because my car broke down. And so I've been trying to fix that because I'm supposed to go back to California this weekend, and it's like all of these things happening. So yeah.
Yeah, typical chaos, right? Yeah. And then how do you shut your brain down at night? Like how do you go to sleep?
I have a very hard time with that, actually. So I was diagnosed with insomnia when I was 12, and so I average 4 hours of sleep a night. So I typically try and journal, and then I can usually fall asleep, but I'm only asleep for a couple hours. So I take naps more than sleep.
One follow-up question. Does your 2026 look the same spontaneous chaos, or are we coming in with more of a plan?
Slightly more of a plan. I'm really trying to figure things out in my life and try and figure out where I'm going to settle down and kind of just find home. And I think that when I do that, things will naturally settle down. But until then, I'm kind of semi-chaos, but semi-planned now. So I have, like, I know Romania is going to happen. I know that these specific races are going to happen. I know I have a little bit of a better grasp on what my budget's going to be for 2026 and things like that. This year was a little bit more of kind of just figure it out as I go sort of thing. So a little irresponsible, but I had the bandwidth to be able to do it. So
exactly.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time with us today. To all the listeners, hit that like, subscribe button, the notification bell, so you know what's happening here at She Conquers Dirt. But today, we just wanted to say thank you to Angel for giving us your time and your stories, your amazing stories, and your inspiration to all these other ladies that might want to get into it. Do you have any last words for us, or where can we get a hold of you, or any of those amazing resources that you mentioned earlier?
Well, thank you guys. First of all, this is absolutely amazing. I help share other people's stories and I share little tidbits of mine, but I haven't actually really shared my full story, the updated story at least. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok under Bike Angel 613. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can find Rap Life. It's BRRAAP Life. If you're on Facebook, which not very many people are these days, I was told it's for old people. I was like, oh, thanks. But I'm Angel Volkart, VOLKART on there. And so you can find me on any of those. And if you reach out to me, it's just me. I don't have bots or anything. So give me some time, but I will get back to you and I can send resources. I like to not really give like a blanket resource to everybody. Like I did talk about like there's YouTube stuff, but I like to kind of talk to people and see how they learn, and kind of what they're looking for as far as like goals. If they're trying to get more into riding, specific kinds of riding, because then there's different coaches that I would kind of point them towards. So that's the way to get a hold of me, and I look forward to hearing from people. I always love touching base with new people.
I love it. And why don't you give a shout out to all your sponsors right now?
Yes.
Oh, I have quite a few now. Huge shout out to Champion Brick Racing for kind of taking me on this year. 2025, Matt Adams really was amazing and helped me with my hard enduro racing. There is Risk Racing, and they are the U.S. distributor for Plu's tires, and I get sponsorship through them. They're phenomenal to work with. Our Enduro makes the best levers that you will ever put on your bike. They are angel proof. Angel has not broken them yet. And I drop my bike a lot. So highly recommend. They have amazing guards in general. Blue Moto Official is an online platform that I'm working with now. Absolutely amazing. It's like social media for dirt bikes. So you can definitely check them out at Blue Moto MX. Decorum Art Studio in Phoenix. They are a phenomenal art studio that supports me. My friend, who's also named Angel, owns it, and they do all kinds of art. They do artwork on bikes, Harleys, Jeeps. They've done pinstriping, but they also specialize in tattooing. A Shared Universe podcast studio out of New Jersey. They're the ones who got me into podcasting, so huge shout out to Ming there. Her motto for providing me with gear that is made for women, like especially us curvy women. It is very hard to find. Petro Zavarati has Zavarati Motorsports. He helped me with my suspension, and that has been absolutely phenomenal for the rocks. It's made a huge difference because it doesn't feel like I'm riding a bucking bronco anymore. As much as, I've always wanted to be a cowgirl, that's not really my thing. I'm not very good at that one. My buddy Mitch, Radco Motorsports, he does a bunch of wrenching on my bike for me. He takes care of me every time I go out. He makes sure everything is good on the bike, because I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm still trying to figure it out. CM Parts has been huge. They get me parts no matter where I am in the country. It has been absolutely phenomenal to have their support lately, and just, Cody's able to, I text him and I'm like, hey, do you have this part for my bike? And he gets it sent out like the next day. So that's been super cool. Cross-linked components for providing some protection for those forks that I just got done. So my suspension is protected, and I have to get my swing arm guards, because now that I'm doing real hard enduro, my bike is taking quite a beating, and that swing arm needs to be protected. So definitely need to get that. I just joined with a new company called Moon Racing. They are a brand new race team that is being announced, and I am one of their new riders. They are providing huge support for us, basically for those who have a hard time getting into racing, especially women and youth veteran riders. So that's been really cool to be a part of, and that's just starting to get going. I also just accepted a sponsorship from Wild Soul Off-Road. They're a women's owned apparel company, have super cute clothes. I'm super excited to wear those, but they're also providing me with some support to be able to get to different races and to my training, and that's been absolutely huge. It's two women who love dirt bikes, and their clothes show it all. So I think that's really cool. I also don't have an official sponsorship with Trailbound Ladies, but Trailbound Ladies has been absolutely amazing, just in support. They have these super awesome bags that go like on your bars, and I keep my phone in there, and of course snacks. They are right there. I don't have to take my pack off. I can just pull a snack right out. It's so awesome. And there's a super cute little teal little patch on the front that says Trailbound Ladies. So that's been really cool. I'm trying to think. I have a lot, so I just want to make sure I don't forget anybody. Proline Designs. They're my graphics company. They have been really great. It's a small company out of Washington, and he really has helped me out with graphics, because I need new graphics a lot, because I them up quite a bit. And then also a huge shout out to Northwest Woods Women. women. It is a group online that is just basically a community for women who dirt bike. And they have been absolutely pivotal to me getting into this space, realizing that women can do pretty much anything in this world.
Wow. Thanks again, Angel, for sharing. And it's great to hear about all your sponsors and all those amazing people that are supporting you and other women in dirt biking. So again, thank you so much for your time and your stories. And we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, Angel, that was incredible. Thank you so much for all of those stories. I think there's so much depth and information there. So to grab more perspectives from other amazing women, please make sure you go to She Conquers Dirt, a Bauer Power Hour series. All right, and we will see you all next time.
Get an entry into our week of giving by watching. 1 entry per episode, must complete the form and click submit. Check out this next episode. It's pretty exciting too.